Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're skipping the sci-fi and diving straight into the hard historical facts and the very real Cold War realities behind one of the world's most heavily guarded and, honestly, deeply misunderstood locations. We're peeling back all those layers of pop culture to look at the actual historical record of Area 51. Before we even look at a single declassified document, we really have to ask ourselves a fundamental question. Think about this. How on earth did a massive military installation become a global mystery buried deep beneath the Nevada desert? I mean, what was so incredibly important that the United States government simply refused to even acknowledge its existence for decades? So, here's how we're going to break down this history. First, we have the Cold War catalyst. Then, the aircraft of the future. After that, we'll dive into the extraterrestrial distraction, the eventual declassification and national security, and finally, how the mystery continues today. All right, part 1, the Cold War catalyst, the birth of Area 51. To really grasp the history of Area 51, we have to rewind to a super tense intelligence battle with the Soviet Union. The base was officially founded in 1955, but look at the massive gap between its founding and 2013. This facility operated in total unacknowledged secrecy for nearly 60 years before the government finally revealed its true historical purpose. Oh, and notice that 1947 Roswell incident preceding it all? We'll definitely see how that played into the timeline a bit later on. So, why set up shop out here? Well, American leaders were in desperate need of an isolated spot to develop spy planes. They needed aircraft capable of flying higher and faster than ever before to photograph Soviet military installations from extreme altitudes. And they found the absolute perfect natural hiding spot at Groom Lake. It's a remote, dry lake bed completely boxed in by mountains and just miles of empty desert. Its very first mission was to test the revolutionary Lockheed U-2 spy plane. And guys, this was so secret that even most government officials had absolutely no idea it existed. Moving right along to Section 2, Aircraft of the Future, the Black Projects. This isolated base quickly evolved into America's ultimate laboratory for future aviation. And we aren't talking about science fiction here. We're talking about historically verified marvels. We've got the U-2, the A-12 Oxcart, and the F-117 Nighthawk, which was literally the world's first operational stealth fighter. Developing these highly classified projects in total isolation was the exact mechanism keeping America a few steps ahead of rival nations during the Cold War. To really wrap your head around the sheer massive leap in technology happening in secret out there, just consider this one number. The A-12 Oxcart alone could fly at speeds topping 2,000 miles per hour. I mean, just imagine being a regular civilian back in the 1950s or 60s and catching a glimpse of something moving that incredibly fast across the sky. And honestly, this perfectly illustrates why civilians were so incredibly confused. Think about the historical context for a second. The public was suddenly seeing these highly unusual aircraft shapes, like the weird, sharp, jagged edges of early stealth tech, and they were seemingly moving in completely silent flights because they were just so high up, often flying under strict nighttime testing protocols. To the 1950s public, these very real, very earthly military jets looked completely otherworldly. Which brings us right into Section 3, the extraterrestrial distraction, UFOs and Area 51. There's just a huge, stark contrast between pop culture and actual reality here. On one side, you have the pop culture myth, captured alien spacecraft, extraterrestrial tech, and secret underground laboratories. And that whole idea was heavily fueled by the 1947 Roswell crash, even though, fun fact, Roswell is hundreds of miles away from Area 51. But on the other side, we have the historical reality, testing highly experimental, classified military aircraft to maintain a crucial Cold War advantage. Basically, the public's imagination simply misinterpreted the reality of top-secret stealth aviation. Now, as we stick strictly to the historical record in this explainer, it is absolutely essential to emphasize this point. Despite all the documentaries and the Hollywood movies, there is zero credible public evidence of extraterrestrial tech out there. The true history of this place is firmly rooted in groundbreaking human engineering. All right, Section 4, Declassification and National Security, the big reveal. So you're probably wondering, why did the government just let those UFO rumors swirl for so long? Why not just crack the record? Well, the answer is incredibly simple and pragmatic: national security. Revealing their designs could have given extremely valuable information to rival nations. The US government literally could not risk Soviet intelligence gaining even the slightest insight into their most advanced aerospace designs. Honestly, a UFO rumor was a highly convenient distraction from the very real, very classified military hardware they were testing. The major historical turning point finally hit in 2013. That is when the CIA released officially declassified documents that finally formally acknowledged Area 51's existence. These documents laid out the base's true purpose in testing secret aircraft like the U-2 and the A-12. And, as you might completely expect based on the history we've just covered, the documents completely omitted any mention of aliens whatsoever. And finally, Section 5, the mystery continues today, the modern era. So the Cold War is long over, but what exactly is happening out in that restricted desert right now? Well, today, Area 51 remains a highly active military facility. In fact, the airspace above it is still among the most restricted in the entire world. It's heavily guarded by armed security patrols, state-of-the-art surveillance systems, and endless warning signs that make absolutely sure unauthorized visitors stay far, far away from the perimeter. Thanks to modern technology like satellite imagery, we can actually see the massive runways and huge hangars. But what happens inside those buildings? Still highly classified. Experts who study the facility strongly suspect the ongoing development of next-generation military technologies, specifically things like advanced drones and experimental aircraft. The technology itself has obviously evolved, but that heavy veil of secrecy remains exactly the same as it was in 1955. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final, pretty provocative thought. Area 51 is this wild place where Cold War history and cutting-edge modern technology just vividly collide. Some of its most incredible aviation secrets have finally been revealed to history, for sure, but many more clearly remain hidden. So is the greatest mystery of this desert base what we've already uncovered, or what remains entirely unsolved today? Think about that for a bit, and keep exploring the incredible truths hidden in our history.